Bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. I would like to call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? If you allow, it's not the normal practice, but we had two correspondences that we would like to add to the agenda at 9.211 DeVoe for the Santa Fe Centenary, and the second is 9.3 Yves Arsenault for the Acadian Games. If there are no other additions, we need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Perfect. Any declarations of conflict of interest this evening? If not, we will go on to number 4, presentations. We don't have any. Number 5, adoption of the minutes. 5.1, April 20th, 2022. We had the regular council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? If not, does anybody wish to move? Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Godet. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 5.2, May 11th meeting, 2022. Council and committee meeting. Any errors or omissions? If not, does anybody wish to move? Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Now, Council 6, business arising from previous council meetings. There is nothing there. We are at item 7, the Warden's Activity Report. And I will go with this. On April 26th, I attended to a regular meeting of the Villa Acadienne governance. We discussed the things are going good at the new building, and they are still quite on track. On April 27th, I attended a meeting with the doctors of the Clare Health Center to discuss the expansion for the center and to look at the plans. It was well received. They gave us a few points that they would like to see added to the spaces. So it is easy to go around that, and it was well received. They liked the layout. On April 28th, I attended, as most of you, the banquet of the volunteers. We honored our community volunteers as well as our Volunteer of the Year, Sophie Leblanc. It was a good turnout there after COVID. It was nice to see everybody, and Sophie was excited. On May the 3rd, I attended to a meeting of the university governors to discuss the end of the strike and the next steps to conclude the semester. From May 4th to the 6th, I attended to the spring conference of UNSM. We discussed the new organizational plan of the union and a variety of subjects of importance to the municipalities of Nova Scotia that they are restructuring. They are thinking of removing the resolutions and shift more on having focuses that align with the province. So to have a smaller list, and they don't have to follow the list. On May the 10th, I attended to a meeting of the benefit of the building of the church in Church Point. We discussed the lack of interest in the tender call that was sent out to look at the collection of funds. Nobody really showed interest in the tender call, so we are having a few more meetings to go at the next steps, and I'll have more at the next month. On May 13th, I attended to the governor's meeting at St. Anne's, and that was just before the graduation the next day. On May 13th also, I attended to the installation of the first bilingual stop sign in Clare. We had Kim Meslin and Honorable Colton LeBlanc and our Deputy Ronnie LeBlanc, as well as all the students who are responsible for the project who were present for the event. They put the stop sign at the end of the road at the high school. It's a stop arrêt. So it went well. There were a lot of people. It was nice to see the students of the high school who saw the project through from the beginning to the end, and they will continue to see the installation of the rest of the signs in Clare, and that should be done by the end of the summer. On May 17th, I attended to a special meeting of the Board of Directors of the Villa Acadienne to discuss the process of hiring a new general director. And I think that is it. Do you have any questions or comments on the report? If not, we will go on to 8. Official statements from the members of council. Does anybody wish? Councillor Comeau? Yes, I want to mention, I would like a certificate to present to Eric and Suzanne Potier for their 30th wedding anniversary that they will celebrate on May 16th, or they did. It's a good milestone. I don't know if you are in agreement to send a certificate. Yes? Any other? Councillor DeVoe? Thank you, Mr. Warden. I would like to congratulate the fire department of Littlebrook for their new truck that has arrived. And I was there when it arrived. It gave the impression of little children at Christmas. They had a demonstration to show the firemen. The company itself made the demonstration. I just want to congratulate the fire department for their new truck. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to see them go. Any more present day official statements? If not, we will go on to 9 under correspondence. 9.1 Pierre Potvin, Vice President, Taxation, BCE in Bell Canada. Thank you.
Derived by Bell Canada for telephone facilities and services supplied in your municipality for the year ended December 31st, 2021, amounts to $625,368. Accordingly, the taxable amount based on 4% of the gross subscriber station revenues is $25,015. This amount was determined pursuant to Section 21 of Chapter 156 of the Incorporate Maritime Telegraph and Telephone Company Limited Act. Should additional information be required, please feel free to contact Isabelle Boisvert. Sincerely, Pierre Potvin, Vice President, Taxation, BCE in Bell Canada.
The reason I am presenting this evening is to confirm that we received the revenue. It's an amount that figures in our budget. The amount that we budgeted from Bell was $25,000, and it's always an estimate that we put. There's no formula that we can apply to arrive at an amount. It's calculated by Bell, and we only know after the budget has passed. So this year, it's a good news. We received pretty well what we had budgeted, which is good. Any questions or comments? If not, we will go on to 10. No, there are 2 additions. 9.2, a letter from Hélène Deveau for the centenary of the Saint Alphonse Church, the organizing committee of Saint Alphonse. On behalf of the organizing committee for the 100th anniversary of the St. Alphonse Church, I want to thank you sincerely for the donation you made towards our celebrations. It was greatly appreciation, and it will help us with the expenses that we will incur to make our celebration a success. Thanks again, Hélène Deveau, President of the organizing committee. And just to remind you, we had give a donation of $500 to the committee. Questions or comments? If not, 9.3, Acadian Games, Jeux de l'Acadie. A letter from the Jeux de l'Acadie. I'm sorry, the only copy I have is in English.
On behalf of La Société des Jeux de l'Acadie, this is to advise your council that the selection process will soon begin for the host municipality or group of municipalities of the 44th Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie to be held in 2025. You are no doubt aware that the Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie is a major event for the municipality or group of municipalities selected to welcome the Acadian youth participants. In fact, more than 1,100 athletes are expected to converge in June 2022 on the municipality chosen to host the 41st Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie. The numerous economic, social, technical, and other spin-off benefits generated by the Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie make it a showcase event with immeasurable positive impact on the communities responsible for hosting it. A study of the tourism and economic impact of the Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie has demonstrated that some 27,000 visitors attend the various sports competitions and generate economic spin-off benefits totaling more than 1.2 million for the host municipality and an additional 400,000 for the host province as a whole. Far beyond this economic impact, however, the social impact of hosting the games cannot be understated in terms of fostering and promoting the volunteer culture that develops throughout the community, along with the awareness that when we work together, we can achieve anything. We celebrated our 40th anniversary in 2019. An important session will be held on Monday, May 30th, 2022 at 7 p.m. by Zoom. The objective of this information session, which is mandatory for all municipalities seeking to apply for selection to host the 2025 Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie, is to provide the management team of La Société des Jeux de l'Acadie an opportunity to present the parameters and criteria that have been defined for the process of selecting the host municipality. Municipalities interested in taking part in this information session are asked to confirm their attendance by completing the enclosed form. Municipalities confirming their attendance in this manner may sign up to 3 representatives to this information session. It is important to note that attending the information session is not binding in any manner whatsoever on any municipality. Municipalities seeking to proceed with application to host the games will have until Friday, July 1st, 2022 to confirm their intention. They will then have until Friday, September 16th, 2022 to prepare and submit their application to the Société des Jeux de l'Acadie. A screening committee formed by the Société des Jeux de l'Acadie will conduct a thorough evaluation of all applications in September and October 2022. This evaluation will include a revision of the application documentation, a meeting with the provisional committee of each municipality, and visit to each site. In October 2022, at the banquet of the AGM of La Société des Jeux de l'Acadie, the name of the municipality selected to host the 44th Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie in 2025 will then be announced. On behalf of La Société, I consequently encourage your municipal council to seriously consider entering your municipality's name into the selection process to be the host municipality of the 44th Finale des Jeux de l'Acadie in 2025. The selection process is a rewarding exercise in itself that we highly recommend. We look forward to seeing you at the information session on May 30th, 2022, when we will be pleased to review the various aspects of the selection process and to answer any questions you may have in this regard. Sincerely, Yves Arsenault. Alors,
So the reason I mentioned this evening is because I had received a copy of the letter, and Councillor Como has also been contacted about this. I simply want to sound if there is anything something that you want to consider at this point in time. if you think we should participate and see what is necessary. I went to, there's, what they sent me was a pamphlet of 2 pages that what we need infrastructure-wise to welcome this. It was not well printed. We have a school where we can house some of the participants, 4 gymnasiums, for mini handball and badminton, 2 places for meetings, athletics, stage for the opening ceremony. I think 5 places outside for, and also a place for mountain bikes. With the 4 gymnasiums inside Clare, I think if we look at, we can say that we have that. But what we can say as far as infrastructure, we have the criteria to meet their demands. So it looks as if it would be an interesting opportunity, but the process to apply for is quite long. It's similar to what we had mounted to place our candidature for the Congrès Mondial in 2024. It's very much the same. I haven't spoken to the staff yet, but it's something that I want. As far as councillors, is this something that interests you? It's also, it's near after the Congrès Mondial, so we know it would be a planning for 2 big events in 2 successive years, but it's also a nice opportunity. So I just put it on the agenda, this meeting for discussion, because the meeting is in 2 weeks. So if there's any interest on your part, let me know, and I will assist. I will go to this meeting on May 30th. Are there comments on this, Councillor? I think it's a nice opportunity for the community, French community. We have the facilities. We have already hosted this before you were here, Stefan. I don't remember the exact year, with Argyle. I think we should submit our proposal. Are there questions or comments, Councillor Dousa? Devo, I agree with Mr. Como. I think it's especially with the track and field at the university that will have a church point. But it is a point that's very important, is that it's the year after the Acadian Congress. So it takes a lot of volunteers. Are we going to have all the volunteers that will be needed if we start planning this even before the year of the Acadian Congress? But I think we should, certainly we should explore what we need and how far we can go with this project, such a project. Neil? I just wanted to add to Brian and that Argyle had organized the games, and our municipality had given some money for these games, and when Clare would have it, Argyle said, as far as I know, that they would provide the same amount and help us. So it would be a good idea that we could, I think we'll have to do search for volunteers. It's probably not the same people who will be doing volunteer work in both the activities in 2024 and 2025, but I think we could do it in Clare. Are there other questions or comments? So I think it's a good idea, a way to showcase our new uh, track field in Church Point. So everybody seems to agree that we should look further into this. Do we need a motion for this? Not at this point, because we're not committing to ourselves. It's just to assist at the meeting on the 30th. There, 3 of us can go to this meeting. It's quite community. I think I should contact Marc Bellefleur at the university to be at the meeting to see if there's interest of the university, because their sports structure is definitely important for our participation. So it would be good to have him in this discussion from the start. So we go 10, CEO's report. The Veterans Center, we still have no news from ECOWA to see if the program is still going on. What are the delays with the program? I haven't heard anything, but I think a lot of people are in the same situation as we have, but it is an important project for our community, and also it's important for us for the Acadian Congress in 2024, so we'd like to have news the quickest possible.
For the Clare Health Center, we had a confirmation from the Minister of Health and Welfare regarding a visit to our center. We think that it will be held at the end of the month, but we have not received a confirmation for this. For information, I don't know if you saw on CBC, but the Deputy Minister of the Health was present in front of a committee, and they looked at the possibility of having staff for the community center. And as you know, it is the municipality who pays all the operational costs of that center, with the exception of a small contribution of $40,000 from the province, but the bill is a lot higher. So if we can get stable financing from the province that would take care of these expenses, it will be very transforming for us. For tourism and the public spaces, for the Parc Marie and Joseph Dugas Park in Majors Point, the conceptual plans for the new building have been presented to the council and were approved in principle at the Committee of Council meeting in May. But as is indicated in the budget, we estimate a total expense of about 1.195 million. What I am looking at is getting a contribution of 50% federal, 25% province, 25% municipal. That's ideal. But as Mr. Peach indicated in his presentation, for that project, so that project can see the day in time for the Acadian Congress, we need to go right away with the request for funds. And we talked about that. So I will stop there for this because we are talking more about it at 12.1. So I will stop there for now. For the Cape St. Mary Interpretive Center at Cape St. Mary, the works for the necessary work to renovate the lighthouse and include the improvements, we are looking at $158,000. Again, the design will focus on the history of the Cape and the importance of the fishing industry for the Cape and the tuna fishing, etc. There is a small welcoming center for tourists, so it would be a good addition to our park. We are still waiting for the estimates of Barcon. They are looking at designing and the platforms. viewing platforms. They are looking at that for the site, and we are waiting impatiently to see what it will look like and what it will cost. As you remember, that part of the project, there was an element for the wayfinding signs for the municipality to refresh the signs that we have now. So we received the conceptual plans for those signs and map that could go. We also received several scenarios in terms of pricing. So the scenario that is most comprehensible, and that includes everything that we were looking for, we are looking at an investment of $300,000. So it is expensive. So that would be all the signs, bilingual signs, the same branding across the municipality. It's not something that we plan to go ahead with this year. We will concentrate more on the infrastructure of the parks and others. But if the council decides that we can go with it, I would recommend this for the next financial year, 23-24. For our action plan on housing, we looked at 3 sites. We are finalizing the purchase of a 4th site in Havelock. That is more complicated. There are questions regarding the community center, but it is going forward. We are developing a tender call draft to submit for housing projects in our community. Instead of having a specific tender for each site, we are looking at the possibility of having one tender call that would incorporate all 4 sites, the one that we just purchased, the 2 schools that we will have, Joseph Dugas and Stella Maris, and other possible sites we would like to develop. The reasoning there is that we don't want to prevent us tendering for one site, but we want to welcome bigger developers from outside the area that would include several sites. It will show that there is a stability for the activity in the area. So it would be more interesting for them with their manpower to have more than one small site. They could have 5 or 6. So that's the reasoning. The consultants are working on a series of recommendations that they will look at the former villa and the daycare also. They are looking at the board of directors of the villa shortly. There is no news on the sidewalk project in Meteghan. We are waiting for the federal response regarding our request. Our project for the sewer system on Sunset Road and our building and transfer station in Meteghan, we are still waiting for a reply from the federal government for funding. The repairs at the transfer station following the fire are going forward. We received our loader finally. The damage that was caused by the fire was for about $50,000 in damage. And that does not include the cost for renting another loader while it was being repaired. We submitted our first claim to the insurance, and I am assured that there is no problem. The bills are going up, so we are looking at a claim of about $500,000 because of that fire, just to give you a perspective of the damage. The track and field at St. Anne's, as you know, we are 70% complete, and it was stopped for winter. The works have restarted this week. I met with the managers and contractors of the project to discuss the plans regarding mobilizing the manpower to keep the work going. It started this week. We are looking at landscaping, finish the installation of the fence and curling and other work on the site. The paving will start in mid-June. Once the pave has been put, there will be 30 days for the off-gassing, and then the rubber surface will be placed. So we hope that everything will be finished by the month of August. Ideally, it will be before the students arrive at the university. So as I mentioned at the committee and council meeting, we are looking at an increase in the cost of the paving and the rubber surface, because both are based on oil and gas. So since our last meeting, we confirmed the price for the rubber and we ordered it. So we received a fixed price for it. I am still waiting for a final price for the paving, for the asphalt. And we know that went up also, so I hope to get that soon. The discussion with the university, with the council, is that the increase in price, instead of approaching the funders that are contributing already, we would look at the increase of those costs to be absorbed by the municipality. And
The project on the Wentworth Park, there's not much to add. It's going ahead. I feel that we have plans later this week to discuss the conceptual plan and the budget. This does not include the restrooms. There will be separate. The contract to remove the old restrooms would be given to Gary Beliveau Construction. And this is after an invitational tender that we had published. The tender for all the other aspects of the restrooms, this is the concrete and the public pumping and water, this is being finalized now. It's been a bit late because the inspector was going on a workshop, so he could not work on it too much, but he should be returning soon, and we should be able to finalize that shortly. The community center in Vavlock, as you know, the financial request has been submitted to the province. The tenders, the documents for tenders are being written now. They will be out shortly, and we're waiting for news from the province it's a project for about $80,000 for the Havelock Center. Our boundary review, I spoke to the firm that we had hired. I spoke to them today. They have a report, preliminary report, that will be ready for us at the end of this week. They have paused themselves for the approach they used last time, because it was received by the community and by the UARB, and we don't want to start something completely new, so we're just looking at what worked well in the last time in 2018. This being said, they said that because of the variances compared to 2018, there's a few districts that's a bit above the parity that's recommended. They have a few recommendations regarding this, but this being said, they're proposing a scenario so that we are proposing. So if you want to keep the size of with 8 councils and just work on the parity, I can circulate the report as soon as I get it, and from there on I will try to organize a reunion with council, and they'll come here to present here at the meeting, probably at the June meeting of council on the 14th. And essentially we're looking for feedback, the changes that they propose for the boundaries. Will it impact your district? Have you received any feedback from your communities regarding the just of the boundaries. Do you have any suggestions of another scenario that we could follow? As questioning, there will be a lot of opportunities to discuss this further. This is just the initial report. Then after council approves this, then the public consultations will start. The conference for 2022 is a conference that we're involved that will be held in Nova Scotia from the 22nd to 28th of June. There will be representatives from tourism industry that will participate at this event. Larry was a lot involved in the organization committee, as you know, and at the company for the itineraries between regions. So Larry there will be 3 itineraries with an Acadian concept, Clare Argyle. The second is Flavors of Southwest Gord, and the third will be Lighthouse in Southwest Nova Scotia. Larry will be the driver of an immersion. There will be one before the conference, and we think that during the conference there will be a lot of social people that will be touring the region, and after this conference we will be doing we'll have activities and articles that will be published in different outlets. The organizing committee will be working for 2 years on this event. Yes, and I knew a project that came quite fast with the ACOA is a culinary enhancement program for Clare and Argyle. The municipality has been encouraged to present to their Main Street program, so we submitted a request. It's essentially to create a program, mentor program between restaurants throughout the municipality with a kilted chef and with this professional chef. There will also be marketing and promotion for all the restaurants involved in our community. The project of a bit less than $70,000, and I think we'd get 100% of this amount, so it will not be any expenses for the municipality. It's not confirmed yet, but these are the discussions. We're very positive and we're quite optimistic that it will go ahead. It's a nice opportunity for our private sector. The kilted chef would be in the region of Clare to act as a mentor for 6 to 10 restaurants from the 7th of August and another date in August. Larry Peach is working with the CDNE to help to recruit the restaurants in Clare, and we will also be working with, we hope to be able to work with the Argyle restaurants, but the recruiting will probably be done by somebody else. It would not be Larry who would be doing this part of the recruiting. Also, the marketing for the farmers market and regional markets, there will be benefits for these building, for this structure. Finally, to give you a look at the financing at the end of municipality, we had $33,792 in our operation fund. Where there was not much revenue coming in. There was a balance of $6,438,383. The total reserve balance can be broken down as an operating reserve of $1,827,495, capital reserve $3,476,190, the landfill closure reserve $335,789, and the gas tax reserve, $800,909. Even if our operational account was a bit low, the money is coming in now with the tax bills that will come in, so we're still in a good standing. Are there any questions or comments on this report? It was very detailed, thank you. If now we go to number 11, building permits, Councillor Danny Hill.
It's for April of 2021, there was 33 permits for a value of construction of $1.8 million. And for April of 22, there was 32 permits for a value of construction of $1.9 million. And the year up to April 2021, we were 77 permits with $33 million worth of construction. And as of this year, 71 permits with $4.4 million of construction. So even, with the price of construction being high, we're still getting over $1 million every month, so that's good.
Any questions or comments on that? If not, we will go to 11.2, waste check. Councillor Nadine Comeau. On May 10th, I attended to 2 meetings on waste check. The first is the annual meeting, the election of the executive. The president is Linda Gregory, vice president Guy Surette, secretary treasurer Tyler Pulley, and the member of the executive from Digby is Angela Thurber, and the member of the executive for Yarmouth is Gail Barris. The committee of finance committee that includes the executive committee and Stefan, the human resources committee includes these members. The policy committee are after the annual meeting, we had a regular meeting. At the regular meeting, we discussed that the consultation with CPR are concluded. They are working now on a draft for the rules, first thing. There was also a discussion on the size of the green carts. The staff of Waste Check found that it is a lot of time to repair 2 different types of green carts, so they're asking if we wanted to continue to have the 2 sizes available to the people. The consensus of the committee was yes, because the smaller ones are easier for some people to handle compared to the big ones. So the consensus was to keep both. There was a discussion on the cables that were sent to the landfill in Queens. The executive director received an email that they did not want the cables in the regular garbage, so it might be against the contract that we already signed. So they are planning a meeting with the landfill in Queens and Waste Check, the general director, and the CAO of Queens to see what is happening on cables. Another thing that we discussed was the black bags that the businesses and people put on the road. They want to start the next step to stop the black bags, so they will send letters to the businesses to tell them that the black bags are no longer allowed. The summer students will have a project to go see and have an audit by the side of the road to see how many people use it and how many bags are by the roads. So that's it. Thank you. Any questions or comments? The black bags is only for businesses and not residents? Yes. Any more questions or comments? If not, nice report. Number 12, new business, 12.1, motion to approve a funding contribution for the Joseph and Marie Dugas Park. So this will follow my report for Major Spite. In my report and the budget for capital project, we estimate that it is a project of 1.95 million to complete. Now that the council approved the plans and we realize that the deadline must be before 2024, it is tight. So we want to go forward with the request for funds from the funders. It is always easier to ask for funds when a fourth of the funds are already included. So at the meeting, the council had made a recommendation that we contribute our 25% for a maximum of $487,500 towards this project. So this is what I am asking you tonight, is to formalize this contribution. If everything goes well, we would like to spend a bit of that money this year, maybe about 20%, before the end of the fiscal year, but I imagine the bigger part of that amount will be spent at the next fiscal year. Any questions or comments on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. I move that the council for the municipality of the district of Clare contribute 25% of the funds required for the proposed redevelopment of the Joseph and Marie Dugas Municipal Park and Major's Point as part of the Tourism Public Spaces Project, up to a maximum of $487,500, including the non-refundable portion of HST. Conditional on the confirmation of the balance of funding, and that these funds be taken from the capital reserve of the municipality. Moved by Councillor DeVoe. Any seconder? Councillor Hill, ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.2, a motion to approve the capital budget. At the last meeting, we went through the budget in detail. So for this evening, I will just go through quickly. Essentially, we are proposing financing to complete our internet project of $400,000. We have funds for work and equipment for the Clare Health Center of $27,778. A contribution towards our Metegan sidewalks, a contribution of $698,048. Now these are the municipal contributions. For the Clare Veterans Center, the big project there, $268,722. Our contributions for this year and next year, and it represents 50% of our total contribution. The sewer laterals, we have $20,000 to allow the people to hook on to the system. So it costs a few dollars when people want to connect to it. We have $41,886 for equipment and material for the municipal office here. The Wentworth Park, the contribution is 71,154, a project with ACOA, which is ongoing. The transfer station, when we have it, it is our storage, building, and fire alarms, a contribution, municipal contribution of $82,010 and condition on financing from the federal and the province. They have the community center. As I mentioned in my report, we are proposing from the gas tax a contribution of $63,567. We are looking at vehicles for our employees, for the Department of Community Development more specifically, and the recreation. We think we can save a few dollars on mileage, but the biggest reason for that truck is for security for our employees for the transportation of equipment. Clare Search and Rescue, small repairs to buildings, $8,761. And that is following a visit of the Public Works Committee. The Cultural Hub, 2 lamp poles to replace, $7,000. For land purchases, we put in $100,000. It is in case there is a strategy that pops up that allows us to purchase land. The extension of the Sunset Road water system, wastewater system, we are looking at a municipal contribution of $166,144, possibly this year. The total contribution is about twice that, but it will go on next year. For the Public Works Department and the sewer treatment plants, we are looking at a variety of investments, a few pumps, work at our plant in Meteghan. So we are looking at a total investment of $90,050, $150. From out of that, we will take 70% of that from the gas tax for equipment that would be eligible, like the pump and the generator. The track and field, we will finish it this year. Our contribution for that project will come out this year. We estimate $266,316. The Joseph and Marie Dugas Park, as I mentioned earlier, the contribution, the 20% that I mentioned, if everything goes well we are looking at $97,500 this year. And as you can see in the budget, there is an item there that I did not put an amount yet, but if we can proceed with the park at Cape St. Mary, there is possibility of that also, but it will be discussed in the future with the council to see if we want to proceed with that this year or not. So in total, we are looking at $6.2 million in projects, and of that $6 million, we are looking at $2.5 million from the municipality. Of that $2.5 million is $1.95 reserved on capital and $603 from the gas tax. So at the end of the day, if we succeed in going forward with all these projects and we do the expenses on paper here, we estimate to complete the year with $1.766 million in our capital reserve and another $582,833 in reserve for the gas tax. So for the gas tax, we are considering that it will not double this year. If it is double this year, we will add to that amount $500,000 or $600,000. So with all these investments, it is an ambitious project, but these are projects that we have in the cash flow that can be done. And I think the municipality will be well positioned to do all this.
Any questions or comments on this one? Somebody want to make the motion? I move that the Council of the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the 2022-2023 capital budget for the municipality of the District of Clare as presented. Proposed by Councillor Dousa, seconded by Conseiller Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.3. A motion to approve the policy naming of public lands and municipal-owned facilities policy. We had the policy that was presented to council last month. We discussed with council and other members of the Madeleine de Blanc. We brought about a few changes regarding the policy, especially using the wording so that the noun chosen be bilingual. And we also looked in terms of to see, also in parity that council will want to name that will reflect the parity. We discussed that since then we have passed draft to our lawyer. She was agreed with everything that she saw regarding this policy. The policy as written, it allows people from the community or groups to propose names, but the end of the day it would be the responsibility of final decision will be that of council. At the meeting last week, we proposed that the policy, and council said it was good to make a motion to recommend this. So tonight is just to make an official motion. Are there any comments on this? Would somebody like to present the motion? Conseiller Como. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the naming of public lands and municipal-owned facilities policy as presented. Proposed by Conseiller Como, seconded by Councillor DeVaux. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.4, motion to approve funding contributions for Heritage Sabernor. After the presentation of Jean Leblanc, president of that committee on January, the group is working with a group of to make a feasibility studies to look at different utilizations of this church structure. And at the time in January, Councillor appreciated the presentation of Mr. Leblanc. It was a very ambitious project, but it was also very well presented. At that time, Mr. Leblanc did not ask financing from us, but he said that let us know that there is work that is being done, and at a later date he would come and ask for financing. So they came for financing for this feasibility study that will cost 70,000. They ask a COA of 48,000. They're gonna put in 5,000, and they're asking us a contribution of 8,000. It is, at the last meeting, we spoke about this, that we have established a precedence since we helped the group at Church Point. We have not given, there is a motion saying that we will contribute 20,000 towards the cost of this study of 80,000. It's my recommendation that if we did that for Church Point, I think we should also do it for Sabanor, and council agreed with that at the last meeting. Since that time, we spoke to Mr. LeBlanc because there was that the church was potentially sold to private interests. We spoke to Mr. LeBlanc. There is discussion with the diocese presently, but nothing has been decided. Now there are still discussions that are they're going ahead. Erita Chabanor, they are finalizing a letter of the diocese to go against the ask to sell it to private enterprise because it was constructed for the community in the past, and they would like it to stay in the name. It would be this is something that they're going to try to do. Meanwhile, we suppose that the discussion with the diocese and the private sector will go ahead, but because the processes to ask money for a feasibility study will take some time, and are we going to wait till the company submit? I think it would be a conflict on our part if council is still agreeable that they approve the $10,000 conditional to if the church is sold, then the money will come back to us. So if the discussion that they're having now falls, then the $10,000 submitted by us, that it would be
Okay.
Okay.
So that is my recommendation. Any questions on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Gadet? I move that the council for the municipality of the district of Clare contribute $10,000 to Heritage Saint-Bernard to aid in the preparation of a feasibility study focusing on alternate uses of the former St. Bernard Church, conditional on confirmation of balance of funding, and that these funds be taken from the municipal's operating reserve. Seconded by Councillor Comment. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.5, a motion to approve the capital funding for the volunteer fire departments for 22-23. The list that you have in front of you are based on the 5-year planning that the departments are giving us. And these purchases are financed by the 5 cents that we charge the residents of Clare on their taxes. So that 5 cents this year has generated, it will allow us to invest to an amount of $190,000, $916. And it could generate more than that, but there are also the payments of loans for the fire departments. So once those payments are made, we have about $190,916 left. So based on the equipment request on their 5-year plans, we are able to essentially give them everything that they need. And the total would arrive to $197,000. There might be a few savings here and there. When they applied for the sponsors, they might get $4,000 to $5,000 from the province, but grosso modo, we are in a position to invest and to purchase those equipments for our fire departments. So it is my recommendation that we proceed with this spending. Questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Hill?
So the municipality of the District of Clare approve the 2022-2023 volunteer fire department capital funding expenditures as presented.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.6,
D'appui à Clare.
a motion to send a letter of support to the Clare Golf and Country Club. I met with the manager from the Clare Golf. They are raising a request of funds from Sports Nova Scotia from the province. They are looking at developing a program that will target the young ladies, and especially from low-income families. They are not asking for a financial contribution for that program. They're only asking for a letter of support to send to the province. So I discussed this with Tori, and we both agree that it is a good initiative on their part. And if it can encourage the young ladies or even children to be more active, so it is our recommendation that the council grant their request and that we send a letter of support to the Clare Golf Club. Any questions or comments on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare write a letter to the Clare Golf and Country Club in support of its efforts to develop a programming for the junior-aged girls from low-income families. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Conseillère Comeau. Are you ready for the vote? All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.7, a motion to increase the limit of municipal credit cards. In terms of practice, the municipality does not have much credit cards. There's only myself and the finance department who have access, as well as our manager at the medical center and our supervisor of public works. The cumulative limit that we have presently is $25,000. I have access, as well as the Department of Finance, for that amount. For the manager at the medical center, they each have access to $2,000. In the past, it worked well. It still works well, but recently we had a few incidents where it becomes problematic. The limit of $25,000 is not sufficient. We were reminded a few times that the card was maxed up, and we had to make transfers to empty the cards, but it did create headaches to the finance department. So it is the recommendation of the finance manager that we have a motion to increase our cumulative credit card limits, that we go from the $25,000 that we have now to $40,000. And that can be done easily, but to do this, we need a motion from council to our financial institution. So this evening, I'm asking for a formal motion to do that. Questions or comments on this? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Doucette? I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare increase the municipal credit card limit from $25,000 to $40,000. Moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.8, a motion to authorize a municipal credit card to the Director of Community Development. It's a bit on the same line. It's something we just noticed recently. We never thought of it before. Our staff, especially the community development staff, when they go for training or for conferences or whatever, or even when they need to travel, they pay with their personal credit card, and nobody ever complained. They do it, and that's how they operate it. But we just reimbursed them the amounts that they had paid. But they do that also for the purchase of office supplies, of ads on Facebook with the media, etc. But what we noticed is that when an individual does those purchases, they are not reimbursed at the HST. So if the municipality did it and had it on the municipal credit card, we would be reimbursed most of the time about 71% of the HST. So it's a bit of money that we are leaving on the table. So at the same time, I don't know the financial situation of our employees, but if they are gone for training for a week at a time, it is still a lot of money in terms of hotels and meals. So the recommendation again, from the financial director and myself, that we have a new credit card given to the director of the community development, and that she encourages her staff downstairs to use that card as much as possible, simply so we can recuperate the HST and not to put financial burden on our staff. Questions or comments? If not, anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Hill?
Move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare authorize a municipal credit card for the Director of Community Development, Mrs. Pam Doucette, with a maximum limit of $5,000.
Proposé par contre.
Proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Dussel. Those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.9, motion to name a road, Pepperell Road North. This was approached by the owners of this land on the long of they had applied to name a Pepperell Road, and now they're just doing like an extension, but a bifurcation, a tangent of Pepperell Road, and I'd like to name this as Pepperell Road North. The individuals in question, they own all the lands along these two lands, and for the approval of this, it's 100% because it's their choice of road, and they agree with this. The name would be respect our policy to name private road, and Danielle has told us it was okay, so it's my recommendation to accept. We give them that we proceed with the name of Pepperell Road North, and in French, Chemin Pepperell Nord. Are there any comments on this one? Does somebody want to make this motion? Councillor Como? I move that the Council of the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the request to name the road shared by the PID's property identification number listed below as follows. In English, Pepperell Road North, and in French, Chemin Pepperell Nord. Proposed by Conseillère Como, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.10, motion to approve funding request rooted in Clare Garden Club. The request that we received from the Garden Club, we only received after we had passed our budget for grants to organization. This being said, there was a bit of money left in the program, and the group asking us $500 which is what remains in our program, so we can allow ourselves to give them this. The reason for this is because they want to buy soil for their raised beds at the cultural hub in Comoville. And when they're finished, the level of land had gone down, so they want to replenish their rain beds. The raised bed, what I like this project is that essentially it's a nice activity, but everything is produced at the end of year, is offered for seniors or low-income families, so it's not something that the advantages for them personally. It's given to community members that are in need. So this $500, the council had recommended $500 last week, conditional to the fact that the group follows that do according to our grants to information requirements as we give to other people. And since last week, we have contacted them and we have received all the necessary documents that we ask everybody else. So my recommendation tonight is to do an official motion. Comments? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the Council of the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the Rooted in Clare Garden Club's application to the municipality's grants to organizations program in the amount of $500. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Conseiller Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.1, motion to approve a sponsorship Yarmouth Rotary Rib Fest. I was approached by Paul LeBlanc of the Yarmouth Rotary Club. They do make a Rib Fest in Yarmouth. They're responsible for the activity. As you know, it's a popular event that's getting bigger and bigger, and the municipality of Yarmouth is developing. The reason Mr. LeBlanc approached us is because as they're looking to do day teams, and one of them is We Are Acadians. To do this, they're looking for sponsors. The cost to sponsor one day is $1,000, and social credit financial unions have voted for this, and they'd be ready to give $5,000 for this. The total cost is $10,000, so they contacted the municipality of Clare, and also they contacted Argyle to see if we'd be agreed to each of us contribute $2,500 for this day, which does attract people from Clare, and it's getting more and more popular. So at our last committee meeting, we discussed this, and the council, there was the fact also that with the Acadian Congress, we will need to work in partnership with Yarmouth and other neighboring municipalities for such projects to build up a product that the area has to offer. So this is a nice project that it's taking more and more importance. So the opportunity to collaborate is this. So the recommendation of council last week was to recommend $2,500, and I spoke with people in Argyle. They had not met yet, but talking to their CEO, there was no official decision taken, but I think essentially it thinks it will be approved. It's just that they haven't had the opportunity to discuss it in council yet. But this being said, it is my recommendation that we proceed with our contribution of $2,500. Are there questions or comments? If not, Councillor Godda. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare sponsor the Yarmouth Rotary Ripfests Acadian Day in the amount of $2,500 and that these funds be taken from the municipality's operating reserve. Proposed by Councillor Godda, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Number 13 is a closed session. We have nothing there. 14 is the next regular council will be June 15th at 7 o'clock. Number 15 is the adjournment. Proposed by Councillor Guza.